Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are on a journey to the futurity with our 3-year-old filly, Prada. Her registered name is Trash by 6. She is by Inferno 66 out of our money-earning Smart Spook mare. The last episode, we had just gotten off pretty decent placing in the futurity at the Eastern Pennsylvania Reining Horse Association. I believe we were third in the level 1 and fifth in the level 2. At that show. We marked a 141.5, and we felt pretty good about our run. No, keep in mind, she has not been shown extensively, just a few green classes here and there. And then we started her in the developing futurity at Ypres and came back later in that season and showed in the open futurity. So we felt pretty good about our runs after that. She was really with me in the circles. She didn't feel like she was anticipating any of the maneuvers. But we did have some things that we wanted to work on. And keep in mind, we're on a journey wondering if, this horse has what it takes to go show at the big futurity in Oklahoma City. It's always kind of a trick question. You put a lot of time and money into these horses and you try to get them to where they can be competitive. But at that show, you have to be pretty sure you can mark a 142 or at least a 141.5 every time to make the finals. So after Ypres, we went out we knew there were some things that we still wanted to work on, but we felt pretty good that she could maybe go to Oklahoma. So we took her to the Congress show first in Ohio in October. And that show was almost a complete bust for me. We both, I think, got a little nervous in the pen, and I could tell the minute we walked through that gate, we were not going to have a good run. She just felt really edgy underneath of me. She traveled what seemed like a mile in her turnaround. She just got nervous and wanted to run through the reins, and it was just not a good show. And so we were feeling a little down about that. But, as horse showing goes, you have your ups and downs. And so we then decided that we were going to do a futurity in New York. So after Congress in early October, we went 2 or 3 weeks later, to the Central New York Reining Horse Association futurity in New York. We had a little time to work on some things, and so my plan was to enter her into the Novice Horse class there before the futurity and see how we were doing. And in the Novice Horse, she felt better in that class in New York than she did with her Congress run. But she was still a little chargy, still a little ahead of me in things, and she was starting to feel like she was anticipating what was coming next. And I really want them to be waiting on me for every cue. So we had a little struggle on that run, but we had a day or two at the show to sort of work on things and try to put some things into place before the futurity run. So this is the futurity. I'm going to talk about this run now, and I think it went pretty well. So let's take it away. She trots into that pen pretty good, and I really did feel like we were back to where we were at Ypres. She's looking around, but she's not feeling like she's jittering underneath of me. We get to the center here, she kind of is like head up a little bit, but she waited on me to get that turn. She turned much better here than she did at the Congress show, but she did still travel in that turn. She didn't jump out of the turn, and she didn't try to leave it, but we still are not really locked and planted in our hind end so much. So I know I still have to really work on that, really fix that before we get to Oklahoma. You can see how far off center I was after the last turn. Here, she takes my cue, lopes off really good. I think she feels really good in these circles. Again, just like at Ypres, she's running right up between the reins. Her ears are back and forth, listening to me. Guides really nice through the center there. And she doesn't feel like she's running off with me. Again, that is so important. In our novice run, before this run at this show, I felt like she was taking the reins and going when we opened up for those large fasts. Here, she comes right back to me, small, slow circles, stops or changes really good in the center there, waits on my cue. Again, left circles, same thing. Opens up here, but I kind of missed the center there a little bit. I should have kept going a little further up that wall before I turned cross center. So I need to, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I need to do a little better job on pattern placement too. Really good shutdown there for that small slow. Guides really nice. She's guiding better here in this into the small slow than she did at the CNYRHA Futurity. Got that lead change. Now we're getting ready for our rundowns. And again, unlike the novice class at this show previously, she feels like she's waiting on my cue to build. Really good stop there. Very happy with that rollback. She came right over her hocks, loped off. And she's not in a hurry to get to the end, so she's waiting on me here. That's a big improvement over Congress and over the first run at this show. Here, I'm not so crazy about that rollback. She came over her hocks, but that was more of a spin back instead of a rollback. So she kind of spun around there. I don't think they penalized me for that. Well, they would not have penalized me for that, but they might have deducted from the maneuver. Here, she ran down pretty good. Another good stop. She's back and good. She doesn't feel like she's ahead of me in that one. So I feel somewhat redeemed with this run. I didn't score it as we went through, but I ended up marking a 139.5, I believe, on that run. So she felt like she was back in the game and listening to me again. So at the end of this run, I felt like, okay, we didn't have such a good run at Congress. Our first novice run wasn't good. Here at this show before this class that we're just talking about. But I feel like, in horse showing, you have your ups and downs. This horse has a lot of talent. I just need to figure out a way between now and November to get the things that she is lacking in more solid. So from this run, we know we need to work on our turnarounds and get her really locked in, planting that pivot foot, and getting her to where I can put my hand down after I get that first turn and just let her turn and go. So now we have a decision to make. This is the last show before we say we're going to the Futurity or we're not going to the Futurity. We felt pretty good about that run, but I know I still needed some help getting some of the maneuvers, particularly the spin and her right rollbacks, locked in. So I decided to phone a friend and get together with one of my mentors to see if we could come together and work on my problems. So here, from this show in Central New York, I had the horse hauled to Dutch Tapman's place. Dutch Tapman has been a mentor for me in reining since I got started, and I sent the horse down there for 1 month prior to the Futurity and would go down and work with him on certain things. Sometimes, you have to know when to phone a friend and when to call in some favors about getting some help and just being able to look outside of the box of what you're doing on a daily basis by yourself and just let somebody come in and say, this is where you can improve. So I needed some coaching, and so did the horse. And that's what we decided to do. So we were down there for 30 days. I would go down and, ride when I could get away from our training program. And in the meantime, he had his assistant just kind of work on some things. And his comment to me was, you have done an awesome job training this horse. And that made me feel so good because I knew that we have a good program and I knew that she had been finished out pretty good. He said, you just need to tweak a few things and we're going to help you get there. So we did, and we made the decision to go to the Futurity. By the end of that month at Dutch's, we had things pretty locked in. She was turning on a loose rein, planting that hind foot on each direction. And I felt pretty confident that if I could get in the pen and, make everything happen for each maneuver, that my horse could pretty much get me there. So I guess we'll see. The next run will be the run at the Futurity in Oklahoma City. Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next time.